welcome to Kelly and Wright. Is it me, or is that weekend just pure vibes?
Pure vibes, Kels.
41 goals in 3 days of football, and it all ended pretty nicely for you as well.
It did, Kels. Mikel Arteta said that Declan Rice was tremendous as Arsenal beat Man United. We'll ask where both sides go from here. Rice, baby, baby.
We might mention scapegoat Sancho as well. That match was epic, and so was Saturday in general. 3 players scored hat-tricks, including teenager Evan Ferguson. So just how good can he be?
And as we head into the international break, we give you our summer transfer window verdict. Chelsea spent the most money, but it wasn't a great weekend for them as they lost to Forest.
But it was a great weekend for the title-chasing Gunners. This one's for you.
Thanks, girl.
Well, it wasn't just in that game. There were goals everywhere you looked on match week 4. 2 2-all draws on Saturday, as well as those 3 hat-tricks from Son, Haaland and Ferguson. On Sunday, there were 5 goals at Crystal Palace. There was a comfortable win for Liverpool against Aston Villa. And then, of course, Arsenal's victory over Manchester United. So, as we head into our first international week, it's promoted teams Burnley and Luton who are propping up the rest of the table. Neither of them have got a point on the board yet. Top 4 hopefuls, Manchester United, Chelsea and Newcastle, all in the bottom half after 4 games, so we can be a little bit calm about it. But the top of the table already feels quite familiar. Manchester City in pole position. They have the only 100% record. Tottenham, Liverpool and West Ham make up the top 4. Nottingham Forest sneak into the top 10 after beating Chelsea, and Arsenal's win means they are in 5th. All very exciting, loads of goals, loads of talking points from the weekend. And Julian Laurent and Owen Hargreaves are with us. It feels like, because of the international break coming, it's all about the vibes going into the international break. It's just how everybody feels around the club.
I think that looking at that result as well, I think that had that not gone for Arsenal, it would have been a tough one going into the international break, coming back out with a loss like that, with the pressure that was on everybody, especially as we weren't playing the kind of stuff that people want to see yet. We're just trying to get there. And I think this result kind of gives you that kind of springboard to then go again. So, and then you go into the international break with this kind of like, right, we've done that job, you know what I mean? It was good for that reason for me. It's vitally important we won that.
And it changes the whole story of the opening 4 games for everybody. Sometimes that final fixture is the one that sets the tone for the whole narrative over the following couple of weeks. Now, talking about stories, we did show you the story of the game at the Emirates, but we needn't have bothered because we could have just showed you what you and Peter Schmeichel were like behind the scenes, where pretty much every reaction was caught.
Look at us. We're gorgeous.
What is he doing?
Handball!
Oh, my God.
Handball! Handball, isn't it? Oh!
Oh, my God. As soon as he's on the left.
Yay! Come on!
Oh, my God. Oh!
Penalty. Yeah!
No, that's a foul. It's got to be a foul.
Hey! Come on!
That's a foul, that.
Is it off
Keeper?
Johnny? Is it off
Keeper,
Johnny
Pete?
or...
Ah! Oh!
No, he's offside. He's offside, don't worry.
Is it off?
I think he's off.
Is it off?
I didn't think so.
He started in his half, didn't he? Oh, beautiful. Look at Peter.
I say, well, you're lucky he wasn't reffing the game.
I know. Everything was negative with Pete. Everything was negative. Offside. You know what I mean?
But look, you can understand from a Manchester United point of view that he would have been really disappointed, because it was a sort of performance from Arsenal that, yes, at times was patchy, but the good parts were fantastic.
Well, I mean, he's rightly speaking about the vibes, and they're good vibes, rightly so. I think for United, I actually thought that was probably their best game they played this season. But still, they feel like a little bit behind Arsenal and where they're at, and it's a little bit disjointed. But I do think that there was moments in the game where they looked a lot better defensively. Obviously, Marcus on the counter-attack on the left, he looked amazing. But you have to say Arsenal are a bit better side right now. Just, I think, almost in every phase. And it's tough, I think, for United. I think everybody had this expectation they're going to compete for the title. It looked like that way. You know, looks like there's a lot of issues that they need to figure out quite quick.
Close.
Yeah, but there were questions over Arsenal as well, not necessarily in terms of doubts, but just questions that needed to be answered. And as you said, they haven't quite figured it out yet what they want to do on the pitch, but they're getting the results. And going into it now, having dropped those 2 points against Fulham last weekend, it feels like they're going into it with a really positive vibe around them.
Yeah, and the Thomas Partey injury meant that Mikel Arteta went back to what they did last season. That is obviously they know better and is more effective, I guess. With the back four, that, as we know, with Saliba and Gabriel in the centre, and then Zinchenko and White, and then a new role for Havertz and Declan Rice, the new players, but still there is a system that they know a bit more, and you saw that a little bit, whereas before they're still trying to figure out their new formation with Thomas Partey a bit everywhere on that right-hand side, which it's going to work at some point. I think Mikel Arteta really believes in it, but I think it was important yesterday to maybe go back to something that they knew a bit more.
Yes.
And we're much more familiar with it, and it was so effective for them. I mean, Declan Rice with the goal to cap it all, was that a sort of an establishing performance for him as an Arsenal player?
Yeah, I think so. I think that what he done, if he doesn't score the goal, people just think that he's just gone about his business. But he scored the goal and it's kind of highlighted what he's done because, you know, progressive passes and, you know, everything what he done, interceptions, all the stuff that he does, which goes by the wayside because of how great he is. Adding the goals to that now and getting himself in a situation where he can add the goals to it is making people understand just how good he is and what he is capable of doing. And in that game especially, you do need that player to step up and make the difference. He did in the end. I thought that Arsenal in the first half especially, playing against Man United, that should be a head-to-head confrontation. Man United should be having a go at you know, managing the game better with their midfield, playing through Arsenal, trying to play through Arsenal. But it was just a case of counter-attacking. It's very much the same as what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was doing in respect of the way he's playing. And I think that Ten Hag has had enough time now where the players he's got, he should be playing some form of system. Because I thought we had a lot of good possession of the ball, just trying to breaking Man United down. And then we saw what they are capable of if they do break you down. Great pass from Eriksen through lines into a Rashford, bam, goal. That is where I'm thinking, that's how Man United, is that the plan? That's the plan, because I think we can deal with that plan, even though they scored. And because the amount of possession we had in respect of attacking them, you do feel like something at some stage was going to come.
So I was going to come back to Man United in just a second, and because I want to ask you about Declan Rice. It went from, as you said, good performances to a headline-making performance. Rice baby over the speakers at the Emirates. Everybody was, you know, being pulled each way to go and do interviews after the game. He was clearly delighted. But what did you make of the 90 plus 11 minutes from him?
I think, first of all, everybody loves Declan because he is such a lovely guy to be on. Even for us to kind of, when we do interviews, or he's a super player. I don't think he's going to be world class further forward as an 8, you know, 6, 8, 10. I think he's world class as a defensive midfield player, a bit like Rodri. But it's interesting that Mikel's playing him a little bit further forward because he's trying to get a little bit more out of him, which I quite like, because I do think Declan can do it and he can add more goals and he can add more assists. But in a team like Arsenal, they got a lot more of the ball and he can get higher. He can get in the box. At West Ham, he couldn't do that. So I love Declan because I just think he deserves the opportunity to compete for trophies. And I think his personality, a bit like Jude Bellingham, you know, they have this inner desire to not be content. And I like that. I think he's in the perfect place. The reception the Arsenal fans gave him, right?
Unbelievable.
That, you know, that's what you dream of as a player.
Yeah.
You know, you finish a game, big goal to decide such a decisive game. And then the warmth that he got from the crowd, I think that's what football's all about.
And he's still learning. He's still, after the game, there's still a lot of things that he needs to learn, the way Arsenal are playing, what Arteta wants from him. He never played with a left back that comes inside in midfield like Zinchenko. That was the first game together because Zinchenko didn't start in the league before. So you would expect him, I guess, to get better and better. The more he learns, the more he feels comfortable in a team that plays completely different to what he knew at West Ham all those years.
Yeah, so he's able to do it effectively now, but it's whether or not he ends up, as you say, maybe playing a bit further back. Do you think that's where he will end up?
Well, I think he said it after the game. You know, I think one of the boys asked him, "Where do you prefer to play?" He said, "I prefer to play deeper." And I think then, in a way, then you can get Ødegaard in, you can get, you know, Havertz, you can get all these other little ball players in there. But I do think Mikel's building something really special. It was interesting to see actually Zinchenko. You might know, Wrighty. Why did he, coming from left back, why did he go not into midfield, left of Rice? Why did he go on the other side?
What, while Rice was on the left?
No, yeah, so he'd kind of go behind him and go to the right.
Well, the thing is,
felt like there was more distance to go back that way.
Honestly, I'm not sure, but the thing is that because that's Rice's natural, he's on that left side. So I'd have thought that maybe because Zinchenko maybe a little bit more adaptable in respects of going and doing stuff like that. Rice would stay where he is and Zinchenko can go and just play. You know what I mean? It's something like I was saying, with Arsenal, what we've got to understand is he's trying so many different things at the moment, because we saw when we lost Saliba last season, how everything kind of like just broke down. He's trying to find different ways of creating and making sure that both sides of the team is functioning, because I thought...
Do you think he's trying too much, maybe?
I don't know. I just think that when you get to the level that he's at and who he's competing with, you have to find different ways of attacking teams, because I always found, Julian, as well, I don't know what you think, our left side is so much more inactive than our right side. But yesterday, it seems like there was an even balance of the amount of work that Martinelli was getting to do against someone like Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, you're right. And maybe Rice being there was in Bruno's area or zone a bit more than Zinchenko, who defensively is not as strong as Declan.
Maybe that's a good point.
I think so. And again, we saw a lot of variation and flexibility in that midfield, which I think Mikel is really encouraging the player.
Yeah, and it seems to be coming together for Arsenal. They head into the international break still very much in a position to challenge Manchester City. Looks like it's going to be a season in which they challenge Manchester City. But as you said, for Manchester United, it doesn't seem to be clicking. Now, they did have a slow start, as you pointed out, off a slow start to last season. But it feels like this season they should have kicked on. Do you think that would be fair comment?
Yeah, I think everybody anticipated them kicking on. Spent a lot of money, and I actually think they bought some good players. I think Haaland came on and he looked the real deal.
Yeah,
you know, like physical presence.
Problems,
So I'm looking forward to see that. But if you think about Arsenal, all the great teams, you know who's going to play. You know the starting 11. Liverpool, City, obviously Arsenal. You look at United and you're still not sure. There's still a few positions where a little bit up for grabs. And obviously finishing with the centre-backs, which they did. It's not title. You're not going to win a title with that. So, but I'm excited to see Haaland. I thought he gave us something different. He has a big physical presence. He's quick and he's got a good touch. But we need somebody to bang in the goals, because that's why we weren't, at the top.
You know what's interesting? Because we haven't seen a number 9 at Man United for so many. I think the last proper number 9 was probably Van Persie. In respect of being up there and not only scoring the goals, but being able to hold it and bring people into him. Because you look at the way that Man United play and you do not see it. You don't see them able to keep the ball in that last third when they break, play, and burst through people, cut back, score. Because their number 9 is not that guy. You looked at Anthony Martial again, and it's.
But look at your wingers. You've got Saka and Martinelli. Both players, they go 1v1, can beat anyone in the world. United have wingers that really, 1v1, they're not at their best. They got to come inside. So I do think that has an impact on the way the team plays. I just think I watch Martinelli and Saka. I think, wow, those guys they're absolute diamonds.
I thought Martinelli really gave Aaron Wan-Bissaka chasing yesterday, and we know how good he is. But again, with Arsenal, we'll go through the 3 parts of it: left, right, left, centre, right, and that's what you got to do, because you have to find the goals from other places. We can't be negated, we can't be so negative when we lose that side, when we lost Saliba. So I thought if they won that game yesterday, I'd have thought, wow, there's going to be a lot of disappointment, but there was so much to see, so much different avenues in the way that they're trying to attack, that we have to be patient with him. You have to trust the process, like he says.
So Arsenal still trusting the process. Manchester United still trying to find their feet with the new players and how they fit in. But as you said, there is an issue around the wingers, and it feels as though there are issues off the pitch as well, because Erik Ten Hag said this after the game.
Jadon was on his performance on the training. We didn't select him. You have to reach a level every day on Manchester United, and we can make choices in the front line. And so for this game, he wasn't selected.
So Erik Ten Hag saying there were other players effectively playing at higher levels than Jadon Sancho in training, and that's why he wasn't in the squad. Sancho replied almost immediately on social media to say, please don't believe everything you read. I won't allow people to say things that's completely untrue. I've conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. And then goes on to say he wants to play football. He respects the decision. He plays with fantastic players and will continue to fight for the badge. But it feels as though Ten Hag's comments weren't as strong as the response has been from Jadon Sancho. Is that the sort of sense you get from it?
He would have regretted that as soon as he sent it, because I don't think there's any winners there. It's not a winner from Ten Hag, kind of airing that. And maybe he got asked and he just gave an honest answer. But I think also for Jadon, you know, he's had a few of these issues now, obviously with, he was away from the team and he wasn't playing well and they took him out. But at some point, you know, we got to see the Jadon that we saw at Dortmund. It's in him. The kid he has everything to be absolute super player. But if you're not training well, you know, and the manager sets those standards, he did it with Marcus Rashford last year.
Yeah.
I just wish they would keep it in-house.
That's the problem.
You don't need
That's
the stuff
the thing.
getting out.
That's the thing, Owen. And it's the way he came out and how quickly he came out. But, you know, obviously we don't know the full ramifications of everything what's going on. But I think you were saying, Kels, it didn't seem like Ten Hag is saying something that's too bad. And when you look at it, the way he's responded, you just feel like it's blown up.
If you want to get on your manager's good side, definitely don't do that.
Because
I mean, that's
like,
not going to make the situation better. Is it?
It's like it's blown it out. And this is again with the clubs where everything's in house and you sort it out. Because if you're a player and you're told that you're not training at certain levels, and then he came out and he said more, and this is what people have jumped at. He said more instead of saying, you know, I won't say anything yet. Because remember, this is the same manager that kind of took him out of the firing line, gave him time, and he kind of eased him back in. So you just feel like, is he throwing him under the bus? What's going on? Has Jadon overreacted? There's a lot going on friction-wise, what hopefully could have been sorted out in the training ground before it comes out like last thing they need.
Can you imagine how awkward it'd be when Jadon walks in the training ground today?
It's gonna be so awkward.
You know, he'll be like head down a little bit nervous.
Yeah, but the thing is,
avoiding eye contact because there's no winners there.
There's no winner. And the thing is that it's not only that Jadon's going to be quite awkward for, but you look at people like he's trying to get rid of Harry Maguire. He's trying to get rid of McTominay. It just feels like in the dressing room, now you've got to keep those players now. The players that Man United couldn't move on.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much wrong with what's going on. Can you imagine what the dressing room feels like right now?
Yeah.
It's not a great place, and this is what they need to sort it out. This is why the structure of the place needs to be sorted, because that dressing room needs to find a way to start playing and giving the fans something to believe in, because they don't. The fans will know that the window is not a window that they're not used to. They always know that it's not going to be a great window for them because they've seen what's happened in the past.
They've spent money.
They've spent money, but like Man United generate money. Man United will always generate money. It's not like they won't spend money, but it's how they're spending the money, who they're spending the money on, and how much is actually helping the football team. It's not.
Well, Sancho was one of those players that came with great fanfare and huge expectations and excitement from Manchester United fans who could see that he might be a missing piece of one of the missing pieces of the jigsaw that they needed. But this story that he's reacted to, or this comment that he's reacted to from Ten Hag, it feels like we said there's something a bit deeper going on, and there have been previous reports from the England camp, for example, from Gareth Southgate, that maybe training wasn't quite where it should be from him.
Yeah, timekeeping as well, being a bit late for team meetings and things like that, maybe lunch or dinners, which is not good already because that's the reputation that you have. And if on top of that, then Erik Ten Hag comes out publicly and says you're not training hard enough, or certainly for the standard that Erik Ten Hag wants as training. And you see who's on the bench, by the way, yesterday, because there was Hannibal was on the bench, Pelistri was on the bench, and there was another kid on the bench.
Dan Gore? Dan
Gore. So
that's probably what raised eyebrows,
yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
it?
So Sancho is clearly not good enough at training to beat those three kids. Well, Pelistri maybe not so much, but Hannibal and Gore, this is surprising. And to be fair, what do you do now? Because is there a way back, even for him in the team? You've got the Saudi market still open, the Turkish market, and that's it. So unless you find him a club in Saudi or in Turkey, he's still there at least until January. Yeah. And like Owen and Wright said, in what kind of atmosphere around the training camp, it's just not ideal at all again.
It's not good.
Meanwhile, for Arsenal, although they will have plenty of players heading off to their various nations for the international break, there is an opportunity here for them just to bed in, to get their new signings up and running, to get Gabriel Jesus back up to full fitness. And like you said, it feels as though there is a plan, that they are working towards it. And maybe the injury to Partey has helped them go back to the way they were playing last season. But yeah, it's a chance for Mikel Arteta to look at all options and feel quite optimistic.
And I think that what he's been doing, what he tried to do with Partey, remember Jurier, Timber, I think he may have been playing, and we would have seen the role, what he's trying to get Partey. Totally. So obviously things have had to change. And the good thing is that he's fortunate enough to have, like you mentioned, Jules, a team that is used to the way we play with that four at the back. And they showed yesterday how good they were at it. But I think, it gives him time at this stage of the season to try and work on these things. And this is why some of the Arsenal fans were what's he doing? He's tinkering, he's messing around too much. He's got to try and find other ways of winning games and make sure that you can continue to attack teams and win them. I still think we could be a bit more ruthless. I think that we go through a spell in the games where Man United had that little spell, you feel, I could feel a goal coming. And then the Garnacho goal came. Yeah. Fortunately, it was offside. But you need to finish the game earlier than that with the possession you're having, so then you can have that comfort in that stage of the game. But it's 4 games in, and he's working on stuff. We're chasing down a City side that you just can't see them losing. You cannot afford to lose. You can't afford to draw at home. So, he's got to find these ways of winning games.
But are you saying that those issues that he might be trying to work through are just things that happen, 4 games into the season, and that these are issues that can be solved?
Absolutely can be solved. And you want to be doing it at this stage of the season while you're trying stuff out and you're still winning. That's the thing. You're still winning. So when it does click, you know that we've got a body of work from the start of the season, what you can continue doing and having trust and faith in what you're doing. Then it comes down to the individual player to do their bit. Like you see, Gabriel Jesus' cameo yesterday was fantastic. Yeah. It's a real boost for everybody, And again, Kels, can't stress enough how when you're going into a international weekend, when you've got players playing that well and they go off, it gives you a real buzz.
Just hope everybody comes back fit and firing after the end of it. Who'd be a manager at this time when the teams, when the players all go off to join their international teams, and you're just crossing your fingers that they're going to come back and be fit to be able to be I feel I've run out of space with that sentence. You just hope they're going to come back and be fit and available for selection.
Just thinking, watching those scenes, celebration police will be out tonight, won't they? It's only the 4th game. What are you doing? Well, look, it's always been a massive match. That
huge load of history.
Arsenal, Manchester United, and to win it in that manner.
Yeah, because it looked like they were going to lose it when Garnacho goes through. Yeah. You think that's it. You've blown it, and the fans start moaning. All of a sudden, 2 quick goals and everyone's happy, everyone's delighted, and they're back on track. I think it was more than 3 points for both teams. I think whoever's going to get the points is going to get the momentum. We've got an international break now, unfortunately for Arsenal and for Manchester United. Ten Hag, how is he going to pick them up? He's not going to have an opportunity to do that in the next couple of weeks. So it was really, really exciting for the Arsenal fans and for Mikel Arteta, but so disappointing with Man United. I worry for them, I really do. I just don't know what they got. I don't see any playing identity. Do you, Glenn?
No, I don't. I feel exactly the same. Ten Hag's been in there quite a while now. He's had a couple of transfer windows, and I still don't know what they are. I still don't know what they do, and I feel as though even today they hadn't had a touch in the box before Rashford scored. Yeah. And I feel as though his form last year papered over a lot of cracks, which his goal nearly did today as well. He kept him in the game for a long period. And I expected when Arsenal hit right back through Odegaard, I expected Arsenal to step onto Manchester United and take the game to them. But they didn't. They seemed to sit off, didn't they, Tim?
Absolutely. I mean, they're just waiting for a superstar. They've got match winners. They've got Marcus Rashford. You've got Bruno on his day. Højlund, we don't know what he's going to be able to deliver. Christian Eriksen has his moments. Casemiro. They've got world-class players. But as a team,
they haven't got an identity at the moment.
No player, no philosophy of how they want to play, which makes the transition of bringing another player into the side when you get injuries like they have now very difficult. Because everyone's got different characteristics. Every position what they have on the pitch, you lose a left back in Luke Shaw, they haven't got another one to come in, with the same characteristics. It's seamless. The best teams, Man City. All right, they've got little tweaks in their formations when someone with different characteristics come into the side, but it's almost seamless the way they want to play. They still have the same principles. They want to play progressive. They want to play forward. Man United just seem to want to. Onana looks very comfortable on the ball, gets it down. It takes them an age to get into the opposition half, and when they do, they give the ball away. They haven't got the confidence. They haven't got no patterns of play.
So actually, it didn't take you an age with the goal. That was at their most effective when they countered quickly for Rashford's goal. Yeah. Actually, very like last season when Rashford scored to put them 1-0 up and they didn't.
Yeah, it was.
Arsenal give the ball away.
I mean, Rashford off the left, it's where he likes playing. And when these are the position he wants to get into, he found himself in a couple of positions like this against Nottingham Forest, and he was devastating last weekend. And here, the same again, but again, papering over the cracks. This is on 27 minutes, and it's the first time a Manchester United player's touched the ball in the Arsenal box. Yeah. I mean, that speaks volumes. Yeah. And like Tim says, the players are there. There just doesn't seem to be any cohesion.
Yeah. It's a good finish. You know exactly what he wants to do. You're Arteta and you're on a touchline now. As soon as Christian Eriksen plays that ball to Rashford,
When Ben White goes across, you're saying, please get inside him. Do not let him aim on his right foot. Everyone in the whole crowd knows exactly what he wants to do.
Arsenal struck back well, and you really like the way that Odegaard here, Tim, took up his position.
Yeah, he just doesn't go in too early. He just holds his space. He's a very intelligent footballer. Martinelli's pass is exquisite. The weight of pass doesn't give him any control problems, and he just steers it past the goalkeeper. But he just holds out of there. Everyone else drops off. Man United defenders dropping off, and he just steers it into that bottom corner. Wonderful finish from a top draw player.
Yeah, I mean, when I say he's a beautiful footballer, I don't mean his looks. I mean the way he just caresses the football. Everything he does, he's just done with the utmost style, and he just let that ball roll onto him. A couple of steps and bash.
He's
right
clean, isn't he? I mean, he never ever miscontrols the ball. He never gets involved in any untidiness. He's one of them players who just restores order for the team. If the ball's bouncing around, get it to Odegaard, restores order, play, sets the tempo. Magnificent.
Do you think Arsenal are still trying to find their identity this season? You thought they would step onto Manchester United and they didn't. Are they still trying to find a little bit of their identity this season? Because Arteta has played around with some tactics and formations so far.
He has, and he's been questioned for playing around. And I just think I look at Manchester City, who are ever evolving, and Pep's always tinkering, whether it be the inverted fullbacks that everyone seems to be doing now, whether it's winning a Premier League without an out-and-out number 9 when he got rid of one of the world's best in Aguero. So why shouldn't the second best team tinker? And obviously Arteta's learned from Pep. So I think this is a good time in the season to try different things, and obviously Havertz is bearing quite a lot of the flack for that at the moment, which I think is unfair.
But the penny drops there by default today, doesn't it?
What with Partey's injury?
Partey getting injured, played the best back four, which got you the most points last season. When Saliba got injured, it was a catastrophe, wasn't it, for them? I thought they were absolutely fantastic when he played last season. When he's out of the side, him and Gabriel, why would you leave Gabriel at the side? I couldn't understand it. Zinchenko, for me, can handle the ball, especially when you're playing at home. He makes the team tick from the back of the pitch, wants to come into midfield and play as well. I just think that, by default today, it's dropped into his lap. He will stick with that now.
And, of course, Rice was a big summer signing, and for him to get his first goal in a game like this...
What a player.
You know, as Roy Keane's always saying, when I work with him, hit the target. I mean, it sounds obvious. You hit the target, Tim, you'll always have a chance.
Well, Glenn knows more about hitting the target than I do, but he knows there's no point. It's late on in the game. What I respect here is a little bit of a block off there, but Declan knows there's no worth heading that back in there for a lottery to see who gets on the end of it. He's going to try and bring it down on his throat. And it's exactly what it does. It gets away from him a little bit. Look, straight in the Adam's apple. Yeah. And he thinks, well, I'm going to hit the target. Gets a little deflection. Anana possibly should do better, but he strikes it very well. And he deserves that. He's a legend of West Ham. That boy, by the time he finishes his career at Arsenal, I guarantee you he'll be a legend as well. Everyone warms to him. He's a lovely man. And he's a fantastic footballer. And he just buys into whatever he's asked to do, he will do. And Arteta is a good teacher for him as well, because the guy wants to listen, he wants to learn. Yeah.
They're the moments, aren't they, Tim? They
Brilliant.
are the moments.
Yeah. I mean, he talked about it, Mikel, with jealousy. I mean, I'm jealous of Mikel. I mean, he's not got grey hair and he's been managing for 5 years.
Now, you just mentioned there, Gabriel, with quite a clever block-off of Johnny Evans. Our friend Chris Foy is with us. Chris, good evening to you. It was part of the list of grievances, I think we can call it, from Erik Ten Hag. It was quite a long list. Are you happy enough that was just Gabriel being a strong defender? He and Evans were doing as much to each other, that there wasn't actually a foul in there?
Well, we know when a goal's scored, it's automatically going to be checked, the attacking phase of play, and was it a foul? And I think if there was a foul in there, I think it's Johnny Evans, actually, who fouls Gabriel. So it was checked by the VAR, check complete, and the goal stood, and it's the correct decision.
Yeah. You definitely feel that, not just because you're a centre forward, but actually if we're blowing the whistle for that, we'll never have a game of football, will we?
Every time the ball went in the box, you'd be given a free kick way or a penalty way. I think this is strong. It's part of management. I think Tim will back me up on that. Yeah. You do block people out. Yeah. Just buying a little bit of time for obviously Declan in this case to get his shot away. And I think it's cute, clever play by Gabriel.
You'd be saying that to Gabriel, wouldn't you? Be strong, so you give Rice a little bit more time on the shot.
Well, that's the plan. Yeah. The plan is round the back, Declan's round the back, I'm going to block off the first defender. It happened to be Johnny Evans. He knew as soon as Gabriel was blocking him, he was in trouble, and then he tried to magnify the situation. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why he's throwing his arms up in the air, he's shouting at the referees, trying to create something. But unfortunately, there's not enough there for me.
No. Chris, what about the overturned penalty? This was interesting. We don't see this too often with a penalty. Talk us through how you think the process went and whether, in your opinion, the right decision was arrived at in the end.
Yeah, I mean, on field, Anthony Taylor points to the spot and gives a penalty kick. And when I saw it in real time, I actually went, that's a penalty. And obviously, we know that this is one of the 4 areas that's going to be automatically checked by the VAR today. That was Jared Gillett. And when I saw it again, Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't do anything. He just stands there, and Kai Havertz goes between and actually kicks his leg and sort of half throws his left shoulder underneath. And in my opinion, you know, Wan-Bissaka's done nothing wrong. He just stands there, doesn't do anything. And Jared Gillett, in his wisdom, said, you know, you better have another look at it. Anthony Taylor did. And he formed the same opinion as me. He didn't feel as though it was a penalty. And, you know, he's quite within his rights to stay with the on-field decision. But obviously, when he's seen it again, it was clearly not a penalty.
It's this clear and obvious error thing, and I think probably looking at it again, are you happy it comes under that category?
Yeah, you know, I'm often very in favour of the striker, but on this one, I am. I think that's the right decision. Back in the day, that would have been given 100%. Back in my day, I would have squeezed through, went down, but no longer. You can't get away with it in VAR.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I think there was contact, but the contact comes from Havertz on his left foot and then Havertz on his right foot on Casemiro. It's both time he tries to initiate the contact. And it's his foot hits the defender, so good decision.
Yeah, be interested with VAR now. They can really see that the player, the attacker, trying to initiate the contact, which beforehand you wouldn't have known because we wouldn't have had VAR.
I can totally
yeah.
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.